What's up guys, welcome to Grease Rookie Garage. If you're new to the channel, consider liking, subscribing, commenting if you like what you see. It would help tremendously. In this episode, we are going to tackle fitting in and screwing down the driver's side trunk floor pan. We're gonna finish tacking in the rear trunk brace, and we're gonna start removing the wheel well or wheelhouse on the driver's side. And I'm also gonna show you my preferred or my new preferred method for removing spot welds. Much better than anything I've done before. It's been awesome. So we're gonna start out with me tacking in the rear trunk brace. All right guys, so I just finished up putting in some tacks to hold the rear trunk brace in place. I put a tack here, we got a tack underneath, and then we have our tacks down here, which I showed you last week, I think. I did put 2 tacks here to hold this entire corner up while we move on to the wheelhouse, which we are getting to this week. First, we have to finish fitting in our trunk floor pan on this side. I don't think there's gonna be many modifications we have to make to the driver's side trunk floor pan to get it to fit. The only area so far that I seem to have found that's a little bit of an issue is where it attaches in this corner. Side note, check that out. My wife felt bad for me, I suppose, for working out here in the heat and surprised me with a window AC unit. So she is awesome. I love her very much. All right, so this is the area I'm talking about. If I squeeze this, now understand the quarter panel is loose and now it's kind of bowing in and pushing on this. That would not be happening if everything were tidied up, we'll say. But you can see where a fitment issue is with this. If I try to bring this up, right there in that corner, right here, this rounded out corner needs to be cut straight up and over to allow this to come up and join correctly. All right, so we got the rear driver's side trunk floor pan clamped into place. Everything seems to be good. Everything matches up with the original measurements from the original driver's side trunk floor pan that was in here. So we're good there. And honestly, from an experience standpoint, I really don't know what else to check. Everything seems to be good. The measurements line up. I have it lining up with the original marks I made with the original panel. So at this point, I'm just gonna use sheet metal screws and fix this in place in a few areas. And we're gonna move on to the removing the wheel well and installing the new wheel well. This right here, I'm proud of this. It's got me motivated. We're rocking and rolling. We're gonna keep chipping away at it. Good stuff. All right, so we got 3 screws holding her in place. That's all we really need. I don't think we need to do any more than that. And that'll hold her in place. And it won't be too many holes I need to weld up whenever I'm finished. So, with everything sitting as good as it is right now, we can move on to removing this wheelhouse and address all of that. As far as the sheet metal screws go, I'm not using anything fancy. I picked up these Tex 3/4 inch number 8s from Lowe's. It's a 200 count, and I think I paid like $9 for them. So this should definitely hold me over for a while. So we're good there. Now, for motivational purposes, we're just gonna pick this guy up and bring him over here just a little bit closer to the work site. I can't wait to cut this out, get in here, This is gonna be kind of the wild card of the assembly. It's my understanding that some of these wheelhouses do not fit properly. Some of them are too wide. I think I might have even read that some of them are too long. I did not read anything specifically on the ones from CJ Pony Parts. Again, they're kind of the wild card because we know where the quarter panel needs to fit out here. We know where the rear trunk pan needs to fit in there. There was damage done in here. It was impacted. So a lot of the points where this new one needs to line up are bent. So right here, this is very much the wild card section of the project. And that is why we are using sheet metal screws and only sheet metal screws until everything seems to fit properly. As I'm talking to you, I'm also realizing that I need to rebuild the hinges on this door because we're getting close to having to cut this out, the rest of this out, and we want to make sure that this door is lined up so that whenever the new quarter panel goes on, everything is in place as it should be. So we got a lot coming down the pipeline that I got to get taken care of. No big deal. Looking forward to it. It's all going to be fun. I'm having fun out here. That's what's important. We're only on like Tuesday night here, so being a rookie at all this, I'm not really sure how far I can get in this week, moving on from this stuff. But I would really like to have that wheelhouse screwed into place. That would be awesome if we could do that by the end of this episode. Life goals. I don't know if it can be achieved, but those are my life goals for this week. Nala, what is it? You being a good girl? Yes, you are. You're being a good girl, aren't you? You being a good girl? All right, I'll get you a little pet. So this means that we now have the rear trunk brace held in place. The tail panel is tacked in place on this side. And if you can see it in there, the driver's side trunk floor pan. I am not saying that they're in their final locations. It's quite possible that there's something going on here that's incorrect and I haven't figured it out yet. We will know better as we move on. We still have to fit the remaining two pieces to this puzzle in, which is the wheelhouse and the driver's side quarter panel. We are now turning our attention to removing the wheelhouse. Been looking forward to this one. Let's jump into it. Okay, so now that the majority of the wheelhouse has been cut out and removed, the areas where it attaches to the car with the spot welds is where I'm turning my focus. I'm hoping, for the most part, I can get away with using just my drill bits, possibly my spot weld cutter and my grinder to weaken the welds, and we can work on the spot welds and try to pry everything off. If I have to, I will bust out the air chisel, but I want to refrain from doing that at this point in the game because this is all good metal that I'm keeping, and we all know what I did to the tail panel whenever I busted out the air chisel over there. So I don't really want to mangle all this metal up. I would like to keep everything as straight and nice as possible. So we're going to be a lot more graceful about how we approach this. But there isn't a whole lot left to get, but I still think it's going to be a decent amount of work. And then we can turn our attention to straightening all this out. You guys can see the damage that's been done up here. Check out where the wheelhouse attached to that, just how mangled up it is. Yeah, this thing's a mess. One thing at a time. All right, so hopefully you guys can see that that's in focus. I want to show you what I started doing to remove spot welds, and this has been going very well for me, and it's been a lot more stress-free. Just taking a smaller size drill bit and going along on my spot welds, and at this point, I'm not even center punching. I'm just starting out lightly drilling and then easing into it and putting a little divot in the spot welds. And then I immediately switch to the biggest drill bit that I have in the set, which has a very wide, flat tip. And I take that and I line it up with the divot, and I just start drilling and press lightly and start pushing a little bit harder to fan the metal out and weaken it. So you can see this is actually the metal that was on the other side of the panel that was removed. And so in some cases I did start to drill through, but as I went along I got much better at what I was doing, and by the time I got up to removing these ones, I didn't drill through. I accidentally drilled through there, but that was a different instance. So I pretty much have it nailed down. Now once I weaken them, the other thing I'm doing, rather than using the air chisel, and if you guys watch Barry's channel, Joe Daddy's Garage, you've probably seen this, but I got a piece of steel from Lowe's and I filed the end down to like a flatter tip, and I've been getting in there, and the nice thing about this is you can hammer it, but then you can also use it to sort of leverage and pry and pop them. And this has been much better than even the air chisel because I have a lot more control. And I really think the key to this is actually the drill bits, because it gives you a really good way to weaken everything. But this helps tremendously as well. So this is what I've been doing. It's been working very well. I'm going to keep doing this until I either find a better way or I need to find a better way. So here's how things are shaping up. So with the work I currently have done, things are starting to really take shape and really clean up, because if you look, there's not a whole lot of rust anymore to be seen, even though this is still the quarter that we have to replace. This is incredibly motivating, and seeing stuff like this keeps me driven to do this. Well, that's actually a really good term to use. It's actually pretty appropriate, but seeing stuff like this keeps me motivated and driven to get back out here and do this work, because it's night after night, and each night you don't feel like you are getting a lot done, but in the grand scheme of things, by the end of the week or the end of 2 weeks, you have accomplished a lot. Now I am thinking that I'm gonna have to do some modifying in this area whenever it comes time to fit the wheelhouse and the quarter panel, because I think this side might be a little bit low, which is causing some problems with this bumper bracket. Now the bumper bracket is bent a little bit, so that could be part of the problem. But I do think that these are gonna end up having to get ground down and drilled out, and this is gonna have to be lifted a little. I don't know, we'll see. But that's the nice thing about just having a few tacks here. I can come back and modify that later. So that is everything I have for this week. We're moving along. I plan on getting a lot done this coming week. So hopefully we can get the driver's side wheelhouse fit into place, and we can start addressing and removing the rest of the quarter on this side and doing what we need to do to adjust the door so that we can start fitting the quarter panel on the driver's side. So we're moving along. Still a ways to go. I'm sure there's gonna be fitment issues to deal with, but I'm feeling good about everything. I'm enjoying it. So if you guys, again, are new to the channel and you like what you see, consider subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing. All that really helps the channel. So until the next episode, guys, stay driven. You thought I was gonna say take care. Yeah, I switched it up.